Welcome back to WRC Access All Areas. Stunning scenery, fast flowing roads, but these Mexican mountains hide one of the toughest challenges on the calendar: altitude. 2,800 meters above sea level is a significant height. The air is much thinner, causing problems for both driver and car. But how much of a difference does it really make to their performance?
We lose a lot of horsepower because of the altitude, so it's also a bit special to drive the car like this.
It makes the rally very, very difficult because you feel like you don't have any power.
We lost between 20 and 30% of power, so it's quite a lot.
It's very important that you are changing the gear in the right time, because otherwise the engine is dying completely.
All the straights that you normally goes very fast, and it feels like ever to reach the end.
But just how difficult is it? Before the event, we sent one of the fittest drivers in the service park, M Sports Stobart team driver Matthew Wilson, along to John Moores University in the English city of Liverpool. Senior lecturer Ben Edwards is in charge of running the laboratories.
Okay, Matt, so welcome to John Moores. So we're going to be going into our hypoxic chamber very shortly, and then in effect what we're going to do is simulate the effects of being at altitude, the same level as Mexico. Bring you in, put you on the bike, and we're going to exercise you for 15 minutes. We'll measure heart rate, and then we'll take you from this, which is a normal chamber, sea level, into our altitude chamber. We're going to do the same thing. We'll measure heart rate again, and we'll look at a comparison between the two. So if you're happy, we'll just go straight through.
Yeah.
The first test is with the oxygen availability in the chamber set at sea level. The workload is 150 watts, the equivalent to a steady cycle ride over flat ground.
You've got 2 minutes left, Matt.
After 15 minutes of cycling, Matt's heart rate is remaining constant at 135 beats per minute.
Okay, Matt, if you want to stop now, well done, you finished the test. So at sea level, your saturation of oxygen is 97, which is good, and your heart rate went to 135. So it's dropped a little bit now because you've stopped. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go into the other chamber, and we'll see how you perform and your body copes with altitude. It won't take long for the environment you're in to actually affect you, and then your saturation of oxygen will start to drop and your heart rate will start to go up to compensate for that.
Just 5 minutes into the test, the results are showing that Matt's body is already reacting to the effects of altitude.
So in effect what we've got here is you've dropped in your saturation relatively quickly, so you're down from 99 to 93%. So to cope with that, you increase your heart rate and your ventilation to get more oxygen in and deliver it to the working muscle. So if you remember in the other chamber, your heart rate only increased to 135 at the end of 15 minutes. So altitude's having a marked effect on your body.
When we look at the results, we can see that at altitude, Matthew's heart is having to work a lot harder than it was at sea level conditions to compensate for the lack of oxygen going to his muscles. His heart rate rises to 150 beats per minute, 15 more than at sea level. This feeling of breathlessness is effectively the same for the engine. At sea level, the density of the air flowing into the combustion chamber, shown here in blue, is higher, giving maximum engine power output. However, at altitude, the engine suffers in the same way the body does. Less air available means a lower air-fuel mixture in the combustion chamber, which results in a lower overall power output. Back in Mexico, it's a good start to the rally for Matt, running as high as 4th on day one. Coping well with the conditions, he gives us his impressions on how the altitude affects both him and the car during competition.
You really do notice it, but hopefully the work that we've done before we get here sort of lets us cope okay.
You've done a lot of work personally. Can you feel the power loss in the car?
Yeah, for sure, but I think this car copes with it better than the Focus did, so that's a good thing.
And what can you do to compromise that? Do you have to keep pushing and carrying the speed through, or is it just still drive as normal?
Yeah, I mean, it does require a slightly different way of driving because you do have to use the power and always be in the right gear. If you get caught out in the wrong gear, then it makes it difficult. So yeah, it's not easy, but it's okay.